what's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Dayton Triangles franchise here on Madden 25, filled with 31 other Teambuilder squads to make up a completely revamped UFL. We knew that this year was going to be a year of transition. Losing 3 key players to the NFL is always going to hurt your football team, given that the Spring League is always a developmental league. However, with that being said, this has been a year of complete nightmares. We end up completely falling off the face of a cliff this season as we fall to just 4-11. And we are far closer to the #1 overall pick in the UFL draft than we actually are in terms of making the playoffs, where at least the first 2 seasons, we either were close to making the playoffs or actually did make the playoffs. So that's why we never take those playoff opportunities for granted, because things can change on a dime extremely quickly. So with that being said, we went with a different plan and a different idea. And what we want to go ahead and do in this episode is that we want to take a look at a few players that could be future starters on our team. And in doing so, seeing what we have for the future, as we are thinking a little bit more future oriented than what we care about in the last couple of games. However, what I will do in this episode is that we will play the full DC game, as DC is in the playoff hunt, and so if we can come out and play a little bit of spoiler as DC's trying to make the playoffs themselves, then I certainly would be pretty happy with that. We'll also jump into the moments of the San Diego Fleet game to see if we can finish on a strong note, even though the San Diego Fleet are already entrenched in the playoffs. So with that being said, we have some lineup changes that I want to show you guys, but first we have a player or two that we need to upgrade, so let's check that out now. So actually, there's only one player that is going to get upgrade leading into our matchup with the DC Defenders, and it's Von Red. Now, Von Red was a player that we drafted in the UFL draft this previous season. He is a he is a 3rd round pick, I believe, in his 2nd year with us. And he's turning into a solid player. He's up to a 71 overall pleasantly, but we'll have a chance to see if we can get him up a little bit more. And after this speed rushing upgrade that I wanted to give him, he does get up to a 72 overall, where he does receive a +3 in finesse moves, among other things as well. So he's turning into a solid player for us, definitely not a liquid or a gas. He also might be getting some more reps going into this upcoming matchup, and let me go ahead and explain why. Now, because we are much closer to actually making the playoffs than or actually we're much closer to getting the #1 overall pick versus making the playoffs, I did make some lineup changes because there was a few players that were currently listed as backups, but did have an opportunity to at least have that tag of future starter. So I wanted to take a look at those few players in particular. Starting with the defensive side of football, I did talk about Von Red, who is going to get the start. We had Tyler Pointer starting for us for quite some time, but he's always been a bridge player / mentor. And I think it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the future of our defensive end position. While we have seen moments from Greg Sharp, I haven't seen nearly as much from Von Red because he has been a backup, and with Tyler Pointer taking a lot of the snaps, Von Red hasn't had many opportunities. That's going to change today. He is going to get the start in the last couple of games of the season, and we're going to see what he can do. Another player that I am also taking a closer look at is Jared Strong. Jared Strong has been our #3 corner throughout the course of this particular season. We did went ahead and grabbed Ty Moody in free agency, and he's been fine. However, Jared Strong is another one of those guys is listed as a future starter on this team. So I want to see how he handles those additional reps. We'll move him up to cornerback 2 for the next couple of games. And then Shannon Ferry is going to now be your cornerback 4 with Clinton Gisley, who we did draft late in the UFL draft a couple years ago. He is going to be someone that will see more reps as well, as a 2nd-year player will end up essentially being a slot corner for us in this upcoming matchup. Finally, the one thing that I did manage to do on the offensive side of football is we made a change at who's going to be starting at the running back position. Terrell Sharpen has been fine. Terrell Sharpen has been doing some solid work, but I've always felt like we might have more upside elsewhere in the position. Heath Whitehead was one of those players who has always made pretty good plays whenever he's been in the game, but he hasn't had a lot of game reps. This time we are going to give our second round rookie that we drafted in the UFL draft this past offseason a chance to get significant playing time and seeing what he can do for us moving forward. I also want to take a closer look at a guy that we brought in from the practice squad. You want to talk about a diamond in the rough? David Bronson is certainly that diamond in the rough. He's more of a scheme fit than maybe what Heath Whitehead is, but because of the fact that we just brought him in from the practice squad, I feel like it would be an unreasonable expectation to ask him to start. So it's going to be a little bit of a running back by committee, with Heath Whitehead taking the majority of the snaps at running back, but don't be surprised if you see more David Bronson this time around. And that is going to wrap up your lineup decisions that I am taking a closer look at. And we'll also see what we got from DeAndre Bazier and Cam Johnson, but we've been doing that all season. But with that being said, boys, let's go ahead and jump onto the field now and see if we can pull an upset off against the DC Defenders. Alright, man, so we'll go ahead and jump right into it here, as we're going to go on the road here against these DC Defenders. As we'll go ahead and kick things going here. One of the first drives of the game after we ironically forced the 3-and-out against the DC Defenders. I was really delighted to see that, as Heath Whitehead is able to get a little skinny there on the first carry of the game, able to pick up a gain of 6 on that one. As we'll go ahead and maybe set up a little bit of play action here, as it's been working pretty well, trying to go to the right hand side, and Leon Thomas is able to come down with a huge catch that goes for a gain of 38 yards. 38 yards that catch ends up being, as Collar's going to throw it to the left-hand side. Leon Thomas going to make that throw on the perimeter, as Leon Thomas is going to help us get ingrained deeper into the red zone. 2nd and 4 coming up as we fake the jet sweep, as we'll run it with Heath Whitehead. And man, Heath Whitehead is doing some good work right here. He is doing some extremely good work right about now on the 1st and goal opportunity. And let's see if we can punch it in here into the end zone. First drive of the game. Can we go 1 for 1? And yes, we do! Leon Thomas is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Dayton! And the Dayton Triangles are going to go ahead and get things rolling, as we will go ahead and take that 7-0 lead. So with that being said, here we are with a 1st and 10 coming up, as they'll throw over to right hand side, as that is a tight throw for Andrew Herden. As here's some of the notable injuries that we have on our team: Grayson Heidick, James Smith, Will Hunter, all of those guys hurt on our offense. So maybe need our defense to do a little bit more than usual. Need them to really pull their weight and then some, as we do get them into a 3rd and 10 situation, as Herden's going to drop back to pass, throwing over the middle of the field, and it's going to be caught for a 1st down for the DC Defenders. As now 2nd and long coming up, as Herden's going to drop back, looks to the right-hand side, and it's going to be a small completion. Nearly picks up the 1st down, but, good check down here for Andrew Herden, who is, one of the best quarterbacks in the UFL. But this time, it's not going to be a 3rd and short. They're not going to run it. They're not going to pass it with Herden. They're going to try the running game, and J.J. Peters is there. Actually force DC to punt the football away, as now we go ahead and go to work once again, but has our work cut out for us, as we got a 3rd and long after a couple of short plays. But Stanley Bryant able to get open there, so you love to see that. As now, a couple plays later, trying to set it up for, I believe that was Heath Whitehead that we were trying to throw that pass to. But we threw it a little bit too early. The timing was off. As now 3rd and 6 as we try to keep the drive alive. Looking to the left-hand side as Jason Bingham able to get into the open space. 1st down for the Dayton Triangles, as that will now get him inside the 35-yard line. Here we go with a chance to go out and get even more points onto the board. And with that being said, we are deep in DC territory, even with that loss. So, very next play after a 4-yard loss, as it looks like it's man-to-man on the outside, and DeAndre Bossier does end up winning on the curl flats, as that will get us a lot closer to that first down marker. As 3rd and short coming up, they'll run up the middle, and Heath Whitehead, you know, he had a little bit of a hard time getting going forward, but he will do just enough to pick up that first down, as that takes us in through the end of the first quarter of action. We're up 7-0, and we're also putting together a little bit of a drive ourselves. We love to see it. So with that being said, we got second quarter officially getting started, as Kyler's going to drop back the pass. Wanted Leon Thomas, because I saw that we had the one-on-one coverage, and even though we had the one-on-one coverage, you know, we just got stuck. I'm surprised there wasn't like some kind of like pass interference or something. Feels like a missed call, and it will end up winding into us having to settle for a field goal. So I feel like we definitely had a little bit of a rough break there, even though we still ended up getting some points out on the board. But at the same time, though, it is what it is. So we still have a 10-0 lead. We're still doing fine. But DC is a good football team. They are a good football team that has a very good chance of making the playoffs. They just got to win one of their last 2 games. We're just trying to play spoiler at this point. Y'all already know what time it is, right? But Herdon is slowly but surely starting to find a rhythm offensively. He's able to get a couple of completions in a row. Will throw over the middle once again. That's yet another completion. So Andrew Herdon is he's starting to get hot right now. He's got 3 consecutive completions, and it sets up a good run there as well. You know, been trying to like sell out a little bit on the pass, getting those like cover 2, cover 3s, more meant to stop passing situations. And yeah, you know, got a good run there as a result of it, but we will end up recovering on the very next play though, because Peter Townsend at least gets that breakup there. But on a 3rd and 4, though, we're going to try to send the blitz against Andrew Herdon. And how about this throw on the run? I mean, Herdon running to his right because he saw Daryl Upshaw coming out like a loose cannon. And Ty Moody just couldn't do his job like covering into man-to-man coverage. So now, 1st and 10 from inside the 30-yard line. And it's not even that DC is getting these like big explosive plays down the length of the field. It's more so that like, hey, we're slowly getting checked down, like death by 1,000 cuts type deal. But Von Red's gonna put a stop to it. The 2nd-year player out of Michigan State, he's gonna let it be known that he's not messing around and finding out by any means. So we now get at least 3rd and 12, a chance to get him off the field once and for all, and we will, as that is a shorter throw that simply cannot be completed whatsoever. Alright, so with that being said, both teams are on the board, and we'll go ahead and get things kicked off here as we get midway through the second quarter, as David Bronson, who we recently brought in from the practice squad, he gets a great return for us. He gets across the 45-yard line. It is going to set up the Dayton Triangles absolutely beautifully, as now we'll get things rolling here starting at about midfield. 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line as we go with a play action. Looking over the middle, and we wanted DeAndre Bossier, but we threw it a little bit too well for him. It's incomplete. So now it's going to be 2nd and 10 here. I do not want to waste this opportunity, as Heath Whitehead is going to steam on forward. Doesn't get that big run that we're looking for, but does nearly pick up the first down for us at the very least. So now it's 3rd and short coming up. We go ahead, we motion Stanley Bryant, and Heath Whitehead just keeps the feet moving forward. And that's going to be a first down for your Dayton Triangles. You absolutely love to see it. So 1st and 10 inside, 4 minutes left in the first half as Collar drops back the pass. Doesn't like what he sees downfield. He's going to run, and Andrew Collar is going to unhitch the wagon a little bit. He's going to pick up a first down for your Dayton Triangles, as that's going to get him across the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 as they'll go ahead and run for Heath Whitehead over this right-hand side. and Heath Whitehead able to at least make this a much more manageable third down, as it looks like one of the DC defenders is hurt. Hopefully it's not too serious of an injury. We see the dap up. It's going to be all right one way or the other. But now, 3rd and 4 coming up, though, late in the second quarter. Collar stepping up in the pocket, wants to throw over the middle. He had a couple of open guys, missed both of them, and it probably wouldn't even matter, as we're going to have a holding penalty against Eric Carey, and that's going to lead us to settle for yet another field goal. So we're up 13-3, but just kind of one of those games where we're keeping DC around. We're playing well. Ish, but at the same time, you know, definitely things could change in a matter of an instance, as they'll throw to the left-hand side, and man, did we get lucky there. That was a first down and possibly a lot more if that was actually connected. And now here we are in the 2-minute warning as DC looks to go to work here. They are going into their no huddle as they're going to drop back. The pass looks over the middle of the field, and that will be brought down by a combination of Paul Hitchens and I believe Paul Townsend as well, as they are encroaching on Dayton territory, as they'll now get across the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up. It's now 3rd and long inside the 20-yard line, as dropping back the pass. Good, get some pressure on Aaron Hurdon, as Daryl Upshaw is able to lay the lumber, as DC will have to settle for a field goal, and this will take us into halftime. We're playing pretty well overall. 13-6 is going to be your score at the end of the first half. You just got to keep it up over the course of an entire game. So we'll go ahead and get things rolling here in the second half, as we do get the ball to start things off, as we did end up deferring to the second half, and we forced DC to go 3 and out on their very first possession of the game. How about this for a little bit of a tunnel screen? We don't run a ton of those tunnel screens like on our team, but we did that time, and it worked extremely well, able to get us across the 40-yard line, as we'll go ahead and run it up the middle for Heath Whitehead. And Heath Whitehead is going to be able to pick up a gain of 7. Although he is slow to get up there, kind of have to crawl back onto his feet a little bit. Certainly is not used to, you know, having this kind of workload. This is the most that he's carried a ball the entire season, as we'll throw over the middle and find DeAndre Bazier. And I thought that was going to be good enough for the first down, but evidently not. That was not a first down that I thought it was going to be. And so here we are with a 2nd and inches. We'll still pick it up anyways, but just felt that was a really interesting decision in the first place. However, very next play, as we'll go ahead and line things up in the shotgun. We got one-on-one the outside, and we needed DeAndre Bazier to make that catch. Oh my goodness, man, if DeAndre Bazier would have held on to it, maybe broke a tackle, he could have been in the end zone. So definitely a good decision, and so we throw it to him again, and we don't give him a good ball this time. So that's 2 drops that DeAndre Bazier is going to be credited with. And now it's going to be 3rd and 10, a spot that we don't necessarily want to be in, but what we are dealing with is we want to try for him one more time. This time it is in double coverage, and Andrew Collar just put a little bit too much faith in his young wide receiver. But it doesn't end in a complete failure, as we do end up coming away with a few more points. But again, just kind of illustrating this point of, you know, we're playing well, we're playing solid, not a liquid or a gas, but, you know, we're kind of leaving DC in the game, right? That's really the biggest thing that I'm concerned about. So we just gotta hope that our defense continues to play extremely well, as we will get the defenders here on the road on a 3rd and 5. As now we'll go ahead and drop back the pass, looking over to the left-hand side, and that's going to be a completed pass. You know, just wide butt naked open there on the drag pattern. Quentin Gisley, the 4th round player that we got, not this past season, but like the previous offseason. So he's a 2nd-year player. He does make the tackle for us. You know, one of those players on this roster that is going to get more playing time, as we do want to take a look at some of the younger players on our team, and you know, who we want to keep around moving forward, as we had to try to maintain the outside leverage, but completely forgot about the big gaping hole created by the offensive line. And now the DC defenders are searching for their first touchdown today. A couple of plays later as they are going to set up an RPO, and that's going to be able to be a big sack downfield. There is a penalty on the field. It is a holding, and so we will end up declining the penalty. It's a 3rd and 13. Figure, go with the 2 plays with a 9-yard average. I would rather go ahead and try to get 1 stop for, less than 13 yards, and it works out well. We're able to force a 4th down, and DC is going to have to settle for a field goal there as well. But with that being said, DC's definitely still in this game by every means. The defenders are only down by 7 as Kenny Beekman just casually lined up at tight end. I didn't even know he was listed as a backup tight end, man. But you know what? You find out some new things every single day, and I mean, actually showed some pretty soft hands there. I would have never guessed he was an offensive lineman if he didn't have that big gaping offensive line number. But I'll say this, Heath Whitehead is really starting to find a rhythm. He got his best run of the day there. I think he goes for about 20 yards, give or take, at least like a solid 15, right? I don't know the exact number, but it could go to Vane if we don't pick up this first down up next, as we got 3rd and 8 coming up. And so we'll go ahead and try and see if we can pick up this 3rd down. They are setting the blitz quickly. It's one-on-one coverage across the board. I wanted that quick answer to Leon Thomas, but it's well short of sticks. And that is going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. Listen, Dayton Triangles, we are playing some good ball here at the end of this 3rd quarter. We just got to hang on for dear life. So we'll go ahead and see Andrew Herdon and company go ahead and get ready to go to work here, as the DC defenders are on the verge of trying to tie things up. So let's see what we got here, as Herdon's going to get this drive started, dropping back the pass, and I tried to undercut that throw with Daryl Upshaw, but Upshaw simply wasn't big enough, and Denario Allen had to make the tackle. No diddy on that last part, though. As now 2nd and 9 coming up, as they'll throw to the left-hand side, and it really felt those footsteps there, because that's a little bit of an uncharacteristic drop. Thought he was going to get lit up like a Christmas tree, and so instead it's going to be a drop, and it's going to be 3rd and 9 as we try to send the blitz. Herdon going to go ahead and go one-on-one on the outside. It's a big-time throw. First down for the DC defenders, bro. We tried the press. I wanted to press out on the outside because I wanted to make sure that we don't give up a ton of space or anything like that. But that was clearly the bad choice. And we're just going to have to live with that decision here from here on out, as they'll throw over to the middle of the field, and it's going to be another first down for the DC defenders. And all of a sudden, it only took a couple of plays, but they're on the verge of tying this thing up, and Paul Hitchens cannot make the tackle. Just trying to do the little wrap-up thing for Justin McGahee, and it didn't work. It did not work at all whatsoever. It's got ourselves a tied ball game here inside of 8 minutes. So 1st and 10 coming up as Cowher drops back to pass, and he's going to find his receiver, Leon Thomas, but we might need a little bit more of Leon Thomas in our lives right now, as actually Thomas is going to get hurt. Hopefully it's not a serious injury. I did not think Leon Thomas got that shaken off, but apparently something went wrong, and now we are down our best wide receiver and our wide receiver 2. So DeAndre Bazier, buddy, you're going to have to be our wide receiver 1. Hopefully you're ready for this, and it comes at a critical moment in the game. 3rd and short, midway through the 4th quarter. There's not a lot of time left in this game at all. And so it's really going to get extremely interesting here. 2nd down coming up as we'll go ahead and run up the middle. Heath Whitehead going to go ahead and pick up a huge first down there, but it's going to have to be brought back because there was a holding penalty against one of our guys. It's Barry Alfman, the 2nd-year first-round pick. And so instead of having that first down, it's going to be a 2nd and long instead. Got some work cut out for us. Thankfully, we will cut into it as Jason Bingham nearly does pick up the first down, but the fact that we were just facing a 2nd and 15 not too long ago, I'm certainly not complaining by any means. But here we are, 5 minutes left in this game. Really need this critical first down. and we're gonna get it. The offensive line does its job this time around. We don't see any penalties on the field. And so I definitely want to make sure we get points on the board. That is fairly obvious. But if we can make sure that we also drain as much time off the clock as possible, I think that's going to be extremely helpful here, because DC was definitely starting to find a rhythm on that last drive. So we got to be cognizant of that, as Collar's going to look over the middle of the field, finds DeAndre Bazier, finding that soft spot in the zone, as that is going to be a first down, or almost a first down, I should say. Inside of 3 minutes, though, as Heath Whitehead is going to go ahead and pick up another first down for the Dayton Triangles, as, gives us a chance to, run some time off the clock for sure. 2-minute warning is down. Leon Thomas was back in the game. Just trusted him on the one-on-one coverage, and our guy didn't win out, so the clock stops at 1:58. As now we'll go ahead and try to run it up the gut for Heath Whitehead, but he's going to be just short of the first down. And a big decision time here. I think we're going to go for it. It's only 1 yard. And you know what? Worst case scenario, they have to start inside the 5-yard line, but we won't have to worry about it, as Heath Whitehead is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Dayton! And the Dayton Triangles are going to take the lead with less than 2 minutes left to play in the game. And now we just need a hold on this last drive right here. So, can Andrew Herden create some magic? Or can we create some barbecue chicken instead? Here we go, 1st and 10. Herden is moving over to right-hand side and cannot find any space, as Greg Sharp is going to be able to bring him down in the backfield there. A 14-yard loss. The DC defenders will have to use their first timeout, but a very promising start here, as we do have 2nd and 24. While they'll pick up a few yards here or there, it's going to be 3rd and long, and they are actually going in the no huddle right now. So here we go. Got to lock in here, chat. Almost got to the quarterback there, but dumps it off instead. Nick Cotton does make the tackle. And now here we are with less than 20 seconds left. Going forward on 4th and 14. Throwing to the left-hand side and gets himself out of bounds. So now we're just looking at 15 seconds left in the ball game. Is it going to get very interesting very quickly? Going to dump it off once again over to the left-hand side. And that's going to go for a decent gain. But then on this very next throw, Herden throws up the seam. And I don't know how you have this kind of mishap in coverage. Oh my goodness. So picking up 11 yards in one play. This is certainly going to be straightforward, right? Here we go. Final play of the game, possibly. Herden rolls right. He's going to run for it down the sideline, and he's short. Herden is not going to make it. He's not going to break the barrier. And the Dayton Triangles are going to hold on. Your winners on the road, trying to rebuild, and they get it fed again towards the end of the season. What a win. So in a week in what was one of our evaluation weeks, it was good to see us come out on top. Really showed a lot of pride out there on the football field, even though it might hurt where we might be drafting at the end of the season. But a good win against the DC defenders, and we can say that we play a little bit of spoiler and had a little bit of an impact on the AFC playoff race here at the end of the season. Now, Andrew Collar wasn't great in this game, 15 for 28, 184 yards, and a touchdown, but he did do enough to, make some big plays for us when it mattered the most. Honestly, what I am kind of surprised about was, we had quite a few drops in this game, which, is a little bit of an aberration for our guys, but we'll just try to get better as we continue to move forward. One person I was excited to see was Heath Whitehead, and boy, did he deliver. He delivered a true full-time workload and did all right with it. 4.5 yards to carry, found the end zone, 118 yards on the ground, kept us on schedule, which I think is extremely important. As for the receivers, Leon Thomas led the way with 5 catches and 62 yards. He had the only touchdown grab of the day. DeAndre Bazier was solid, not a liquid or a gas, and then Jason Bingham had a few catches. Stanley Bryant was able to bring in a grand total of 1 catch in this one. It's not listed on here specifically, but we had plenty of drops in this game. We got to keep it real with that one. But to be honest, I was really impressed to see how strong or how well we played, like from a defensive standpoint. Diario Allen did end up getting 8 total tackles in this game, but a few other guys had 5 tackles themselves. Jared Strong had 5. Jordan Baptiste, our backup middle linebacker, had 5. And then Ty Moody, even though I explicitly put him as the number 5 corner, he still found his way on the field somehow and got 5 tackles. So you know, it's fine. I don't know if it was like a Madden glitch or what happened there. What I will say though is that we have a future starter for sure in Von Red. He's living up to that player tag. He had 2 sacks on the game, which I thought was really good for him. Greg Sharp was also able to get a sack as well. He's been kind of starting for us on and off all season long. Then, not to mention, you know, we had some half sacks from the likes of J.J. Peters, Cameron Spencer, Tyler Pointer, who occasionally got into the game every once in a while. They all had half sacks in this one. No turnovers forced, but it's all good. We end up getting the win, and now we look forward to our final matchup of the season, where we try to see if we can make something shake. But not only do we get the win on the road, mind you, but one thing that we do also get is a couple of upgrades from our guys. Jared Strong is one of them, and that was a player that we were specifically looking at today. You know, he was solid in this one, definitely not a liquid or a guess. And he actually gets 2 upgrades. So we're going to put one into the slot corner because he typically plays as that like number 3 corner for us. Outside of this evaluation period, he gets a +2 to play recognition there. And then I also want to work on his scheme fit. So we're going to work on his man-to-man as well. And so for both of those upgrades, he's going to become a 76 overall with a +2 to man coverage as well. He's looking like a pretty good football player. Then Barry Alvin, our first round pick back in the year 1 off season. He's continuing to show why he is an excellent offensive lineman for us. It's just harder for offensive linemen to get XP. So we're going to work on his agility here. And he gets up to a 79 overall, which is, you know, not bad. It really isn't bad at all. It's just a hard thing for like Barry Alfman's and for other offensive linemen for that matter to get experience. But he is a pretty good football player as well. I will say that. Alright boys, so we are closing in on our final game of the season, and before we jump into this final game of the season, we have multiple players actually getting some upgrades. J.J. Peters actually does earn yet another upgrade, and so we're going to go ahead and put it into the run stopper, as he's now going to jump up to an 83 overall, although you can see by his XP bar in the upper right hand corner, he's actually extremely close to making that happen. He gets a +2 to play recognition and pursuit as well. Also getting upgrades is Will Hunter. Now, Will Hunter has not really played all that much, but that's okay. You know, Will Hunter is making those like slowly but surely like strides forward, and is truly a solid wide receiver too for us. I am happy that we brought him in. He gets a +2 to catching and medium route running, as he is entering the prime of his career right now. For Connor Hank has been like doing what he can to hold things out with the injury to James Smith happening to him right now. So for Connor Hank, we're going to work on his power, and he will remain at a 73 overall. But for someone that we have as a backup, we're actually really happy to have him. He gets a +2 to pass blocking and pass blocking power. And then Sheldon Ferry is going to get an upgrade as well. Now, Sheldon Ferry is a special teams type of player, someone that doesn't really see the field for us much when it comes to like pure defensive snaps. But we'll go ahead and make him a zone coverage like upgrade guy, and he actually jumps 2 overalls because of it. He gets a +3 to tackling, +2 to awareness, and then another +2 to man coverage as well. The second-year player that we drafted last year is turning into a solid football player for us, actually. So let's go ahead and jump right into our final game of the season, hosting the San Diego Fleet. Now, the San Diego Fleet have already clinched a playoff berth. They're coming in 11-5. Oh, the only thing that we can do at this point is they are in the divisional hunt. So, if they need a win, but they also need the St. Louis Battlehawks to lose to ensure that they get a like a home playoff game, like in the playoffs, we can at least stop them from doing that. At least we can play a little bit of spoiler, like we tried to do with the DC Defenders earlier in this episode. We're going to run it up the gut for Heath Whitehead here, and I thought this could be a face mask, or at least I'm hoping that it's a face mask. But of course I am wrong. They do not call it a face mask. They're going to call it on Peter Whiteside instead. And so we got some work to do here on this first drive of the game. Throwing over the middle, and Will Hunter. Oh my goodness, it is so good to have Will Hunter back. He has been a much appreciated and added presence for sure. As now we are at under 2 minutes left as we'll run it up the middle for Heath Whitehead. And Heath Whitehead gets another good run there. We'll see if this happens yet again here on the 3rd and inches as we try to keep the drive alive. Collar throwing to the right-hand side, and Leon Thomas is going to spin off a defender and picks up a first down again. This one is going to carry us across midfield and really seeing like a little bit of spark in the old fire as we are seeing Leon Thomas get a little feisty after the play is over, but like it is what it is though. As now we get into the actually we get out of the first quarter. This drive is going through the first quarter. It has been a methodical drive, and it would truly be a shame if we don't come away with any points. But decision time here for 4th and 12, trying to decide whether we want to go for a field goal or some kind of like touchdown. We end up going for the field goal, so we end up getting a few points on the board, but this might be the way for us here. I think this is how we need to win games, or at least this is how we should have tried to win games throughout the year. It's just be methodical, try to do like the time possession thing, but instead, like we'll go ahead and take that. But not a lot of action going on after that. It's a very low-scoring game, 9-3. It's just really like kind of like that greatest game like energy, like if you really love that kind of sarcastic shit, right? But anyways, we got a goal line opportunity. We have a chance to shut the door on the San Diego Fleet once and for all. We'll see if we can find the end zone finally, and we still can't. We still cannot find the end zone. Late in the game, we had to settle for yet another field goal, and it's only 12-3. It's only 12-3. I mean, we are trying everything that we can to give San Diego this game, but apparently we are just a completely locked down defense as Ty Moody able to make a big time play, able to get that deflection on the 4th and 8. And so with less than 4 minutes left in the ball game, we're just trying our very best to come out here and like go to work here once more. And that's going to be a first down for the Dayton Triangles, as we'll go ahead and jump into the 2-minute warning here. See if we can pick up yet another first down. As I'm not worried about whether we run or pass it, as this is going to be a 2-minute warning notification anyways. We don't get it there, but we do get another field goal, and San Diego does not find the end zone either. So 15-3 is our final score. We end up winning our final game of the season. I just wish this type of team was there when we were actually like competitive for certain things. So, of course, when we do the quote-unquote tanking thing, we end up winning both of those games that we participated in. But when we were trying to compete throughout the season, this type of team was not showing up. We straight up shut down San Diego as we held them to less than 250 yards of total offense. And not to mention, we were also able to go out there and we were able to hold San Diego to just a field goal the entire game. It was a really good performance, especially defensively. Now, with that being said, the offense was a little difficult to watch. I'm going to be honest with you, as Andrew Collar, he was at least efficient, 23 for 31, 228 yards, but did not lead the team to a single offensive touchdown, which is crazy that we were able to win this game in spite of all that. Heath Whitehead maybe is one of those guys that maybe isn't ready necessarily to have a full workload. We gave him the ball 26 times today, but he's only able to get 85 yards out of it, average less than 3.5 yards a carry in this one. As for the receivers, Will Hunter nearly had 100 yards today. He had 9 catches for 99 yards. Leon Thomas was kind of quiet with 5 catches and 47 yards in this one, and DeAndre Bazier had 4 for 45. Nobody else doing anything of note. Although Champ Johnson, the second-year player out of Mississippi Valley State, actually does get a catch, so shout out to your guys' customs. But defensively, listen, we played extremely well defensively. I have nothing bad to say. Now, our three leading tacklers in Niles Cannon, Peter Townsend, and Daryl Upshaw all led the team in tackles today. But with that being said, because of the fact that we're able to, hold them to 3 points, I'm not too concerned about that. But most of the time when your DBs are leading the team in tackles, that's not great. We did not get any sacks. We did not get to the quarterback at all today, but Daryl Upshaw was able to get an interception. We were able to convert that into points, and we also do a good job of not turning the ball over as well. So a pretty good game all around, especially defensively. So something else that we do end up seeing right after the game is that we do end up seeing one of our backup linebackers who did start for us last year get an upgrade. It's Cameron Means, and Cameron Means also a solid football player for us for sure, man. We're going to work on his power rushing, and he'll get to a 72 overall. He's actually not that bad. He gets a +3 to play recognition as well as a +2 to tackling, as well as a 24-year-old from TCU has been developing quite nicely. So that does mean that the season comes to an end, and even though we didn't make the playoffs, what we did manage to do is that we did keep, I believe the DC Defenders did not make the play. Actually, no, they barely did make it, but they got in as a 7 seed, so they were very close to being kicked out of the playoffs in its entirety. And then as for the San Diego Fleet, they were in a divisional battle with the St. Louis Battlehawks to get a home game. And so San Diego, even though they finished 11-6, we stopped them from possibly winning the division, and they're going to be in the AFC playoffs as a 5 seed. The best record this season goes to the Arizona Hotshots, as they finished with a very impressive 15-2 record. After starting the year 0-2, they have gone on to win 15 consecutive games. They are absolutely red hot going into the playoffs. Now, as for us though, taking a look at how things shook out in the standings, so the Minnesota Blizzard will end up receiving the number 1 overall pick. They finished 3-14. There was a freeway tie after that, but it looks like the Eugene Chiefs, after making the UFL championship last year, they finished 5-12. Pittsburgh needing a new quarterback, they also finished 5-12. And then do Orlando Guardians also finish with a 5-12 record. But then there's us. There were 2 teams that finished 6-11. And because Salt Lake actually did beat us earlier in the regular season, we finished behind Salt Lake. So we will end up with the 5th overall pick. So we have our picking of a top 5 player. And not to mention, we have a huge opportunity to draft a premium college player, at least like in that first round of the UFL draft. So our season will come to an end, and while we did definitely build some momentum going into the offseason, it seems clear as well that we need to come out here, we need to work on the offensive side of the football, as our defense has really started to improve tremendously in the second half of the season. So we do have our franchise quarterback in place. That is extremely clear to me. We are definitely going to make sure that we do what we can to possibly surround our franchise quarterback with some better talent, particularly on the outside. But with that being said, guys, appreciate y'all coming out. We win our last 2 games of the season, and we still get to retain a top 5 pick, which is pretty cool. So with that being said, next episode we will go through the entire offseason. We'll take a look at what the new look team is going to look like, among other things, in that next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been fun to try and see like this team in transition. And while we did take a step back, I think we have those pieces in place to where we could take that step forward next season and get back to the playoffs for the first time since season number 1. But with that being said, guys, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. But hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.